Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today I'm joined by Ignatius, who is the Head of Data, Platforms and Engineering at EBOS Group, based in Melbourne. Firstly, before we get into today's questions and dive deeper into Ignatius' experience as a leader, I'll get our guest to introduce himself. Ignatius, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks for inviting me to your podcast. My name is Ignatius, but most people call me Iggy. I've been in the data and AI space, and I'm very passionate with that for more than 20 years. I've been working in large multinational enterprises like Telstra and National Australia Bank, and also in the capacity as consultant and internal facing employees. In the past 5 years, I've been really looking into the platform side, building the data and AI capabilities. And so that's a little bit about me.
Perfect. Thanks for the intro. So we'll dive straight into the first question, which is, what's the one piece of career advice you wish someone had given you when you were starting out?
Thank you. That's interesting questions. I guess early on when I first started out, I was always eager to prove myself, and I would take any challenges, pretty much all of challenges that is thrown to me. But I wish someone would have said to me back then, basically, look after yourself and look after your family, especially your physical and mental health. I'm a self-confessed workaholic, but these days I'm able to actually shut down from work and prioritize my family and myself. I'm not saying that there won't be any occasions where you actually have to put in extra time to finish something, but as soon as it becomes the norm, like if you're finding yourself working day and night over a few weeks or few months and things like that, that's definitely a red flag. So, and speak up. Sometimes you will be surprised that most leaders will actually be able to help you. So if you don't speak up, nobody will know. But if your leaders actually don't care about your well-being, then it probably doesn't mean that it probably means that they don't care about you or value you as their employee. So put that in mind. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nice. How long did it take, or was there? I was going to firstly say, how long did it take you to realise you needed to maybe step back and give yourself a bit of a breather or a break? Like, or was there a particular circumstances or anything that happened? Like what caused you to maybe have this realization, I guess, that not overwork yourself?
Yeah. It's easy to go through like long nights and long mornings when basically you don't have family yet. So in my younger days, obviously, and when you're young, your body usually is stronger and you can basically take the beating. But as you start having family and obviously growing older, it becomes unsustainable and the body just tells me so. I remember I basically crashed after a long day for a couple of weeks, and I had to recover quite long. So it's basically I realized what I've actually done wrong. For my health. So I basically spoke up to my manager, and to my surprise, they're actually very understanding. So very grateful for that.
Your body's a smart thing. Like if it just crashes, Spike, you probably need a rest.
And hopefully you listen to the body, and don't ignore it and just keep repeating the cycle. And that's definitely not healthy.
Yeah, look, I'm like, ironically, my body probably told me 10 times over, slow down, try, do, before I realized, like, I know more recently as I've gotten, a little bit older, like I've probably tried to step back, listen to my body a bit more, like, realize maybe take some time out to just do something that's not solely focused on achieving or doing something that's work related. I feel it took me a while to realize that though. I was a slow learner.
Exactly, especially when you're competitive as well. Like if you have a competitive nature, you always want to perform. So that having a slowdown doesn't feel right. But it's actually really important to actually slow down.
Yeah, agreed. And then I know you mentioned it there, but something like I can relate to, like asking for help as well. Like I found as I got into my 30s, I probably more actively did that. And I was probably just my ego or thinking I could achieve it, would always think, don't ask. And then once I realized how beneficial it was to only help me doing more, achieve more anyway, like that simple thing of asking for help wasn't like something you should shy away from, which you mentioned. I thought that was good as well.
Yeah, totally agree with that. And there's always that perception, right? I don't want to be gender biased or anything like that, but there's always that perception in the past where males supposed to be, strong, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely don't be afraid to ask for help.
For sure. Yeah, I can relate to that. Perfect. Moving on to question 2. Can you share a pivotal moment in your career journey that made a significant impact?
I don't think I can pinpoint to a particular moment. I think for me, it's always been whenever I decided to make a career move. So basically either changing role within the same company or move to a different company. I love learning something new. So whenever I started to feel comfortable in a role, then I know it's time to basically just try something new, and whether that's internally in the company, if they were able to find something, other things for me to work on or focus on, or if necessary, going to find those new things that you're passionate elsewhere. So yeah, if I look back at my career, most of my career move has always been that to learn something new. In the early days, it's always to do with learning new technologies. But the last few years is really trying to grow myself as a leader.
Nice. Was there anything or any ways that you thought about that helped you make a decision to jump to a new company? For example, if you obviously mentioned there that when things, you felt like you weren't being challenged or whatnot, I know some people can fall into staying too long, maybe it's something, and that idea of doing something new is overwhelming. Like, did you find it hard, or was it natural to you, or was there anything you kind of leveraged to make that decision or that jump a bit easier when you were going to do it?
Yeah, definitely. It's something that is, I find it a bit hard for me because, to be honest, I am a loyal person. So if you look back at my career, I stayed in the same company for more than 5 years, like easily 8 years. And so moving on is quite hard. But at the same time, I've got basically a group of people that supports me, so I can basically consult with them, try to basically either find the pros and cons of moving on, getting the validation that it is potentially the right thing to do, what are the risks, and all those things. So it's always been good to have those people around you.
Yeah, for sure. And is that like just family, or is it like people you've worked with in the past? Like, I'm just thinking for people, if they hear it, like what's a good group of people? Or is it just friends that you can, that they don't know anything about the industries and it's good to just weigh it up?
It's definitely all of the above, actually. So, I mean, obviously, my wife is the best supporter of me, and she's really good at making me to really think and put down all the different options and the pros and cons. But I have friends and colleagues as well, both past and present, that I can consult with, and I can basically just pretty much openly talk about anything and everything. Even I remember back, this is many, many years ago, my manager back then was actually supporting me to actually move to a different role. And even though he knows that he will lose me, right? But he's actually supportive of that because he actually cares about my growth.
Yeah, no, I agree. Me and mine, like our managing director only recently talked about this, like the value of having, people to be able to go to for guidance, or whatever it's, people from ex-colleagues or, family or outside of that, but just having a group of people you can kind of go to, like you said, that can consult or help, or like how valuable that can be, like with all problems, I guess. But like, when we're talking about this setting within work and moving on, I think it can be utilized very well if people can, create or facilitate that somehow. Agree.
That's right. Yeah. So it's really important, like to be present in the community. So some people prefer to be on their own, but I think I find that having other people to bounce your idea with, even exchanging ideas or exchanging knowledge is really useful. So the community is also a good place for that. Like we have a lot of professional community around us, and make use of them.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Third and final question: how do you approach challenges and setbacks in your professional life, and what's your go-to strategy for overcoming them?
I think I've covered it pretty much in the previous question. Basically, surrounding yourself with people that really cares about you. And like I said, it's not just family and friends, also colleges as well, past and present, and the professional community around you. So I'm lucky enough to have great managers, great mentors throughout my career. They've been able to give me great advices, especially whenever I face difficult challenges or setbacks, and they're very supportive of me. So I think basically find people and that mentor that actually cares about you. And sometimes you find like you may be hesitant to ask your manager or your peer or someone in your company to become that mentor. You'll be surprised if you actually do ask them, and they're actually quite happily to do it.
Yeah. I've even tried to do this more recently, just around the idea of someone keeping me accountable for something that's appeared, when I'm working, doing certain things. Obviously, I'm recruitment related, but like you just said, I suppose I wasn't surprised because I'd worked with them for a while, but they were very forthcoming and for sure, happy to, be able to bounce ideas, keep you accountable, do this X, Y, Z, and kind of have that support, I guess, like you mentioned.
Yeah, correct. And sometimes also that support might come from someone you don't even know. I'm not that active in LinkedIn, but I know there is a great community out there. I know my ex-EGM doing mentor walk, and that is really useful. So anyone, even you don't know them, you can actually just jump onto that event, and then you'll actually meet someone that has a lot of experience, and then you can just talk to that people, anything. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, awesome. Well, that's all three. Anything else you want to add on? Anything else in particular that you want to wrap up with?
I just want to thank you for the invite, and thanks for having me. I'm really hoping that some of my experience is useful and has some relevance to the listeners. But if like I said, I'm happy to support anyone in my group, in my network, and beyond my network. If you ever need some advice, please reach out.